Okay. Announcement number one, want to remind you about Team Cup. If you are on this call, then you clearly take your business seriously enough to get on this call every single week. So make sure you are ready to participate in Team Cup. Again, it's just something that Beachbody does twice a year, always in February, and you just work with 4 other coaches. So it's a team of 5, and you just kind of help each other push for goals for the month, hold each other accountable to that. And it's just really fun to like make some new friends and work with a smaller grouping. But like I explained, we have the pre-application. I'm calling it the pre-application because you're not actually registering at that point, but it's in the team page. It's tagged at the top in the announcements. Make sure you fill that out. To get added to a team. You have until tomorrow at 5 to fill that out and let us know that you want to be slotted into a team. And then we have to get everyone registered by Monday. So really by Sunday night, we want to make sure. So from there, this weekend, you'll hear from your team captain to get like your coach ID, your email, and everything to officially register you with Beachbody. And we're just going to have one big Facebook group for everyone doing Team Cup together to kind of hustle and work together. And you'll be checking in kind of individually with your team as well. So it's going to be really fun. Make sure you do that. If you are on Purposefully Fit Life, she's probably already told you this, but there's no need to fill out the form. Like she's already sent me a list of all of you guys that are doing that. So if you did fill it out, that's fine. But anyone else, make sure, please. And if you're unsure, just fill out the Google form in the team page. It's the easiest way. That's first announcement. Second announcement, I just want to remind you guys, this is something like we always can get lax on, and I know I do as well. But we are a team of commenters, not likers. So especially on Thursdays when we have ranks and recognition, and on Mondays when we're welcoming new coaches into the team, and just in general, if you see something in the team page, someone is shouting someone out, when someone comments on that thread that we have monthly where you're shouting yourself out for getting new customers started, comment on that, please. Like likes are awesome, and I'm glad you're like recognizing what is going on, but remember, like we're a community and we're here to lift each other up and support each other. So like make sure you're going in and commenting on that stuff. And even if it means like you don't have to do it in the moment, obviously, but go back Thursday nights after team call, or go back Fridays, or set a time and just scroll through the team page and make sure, like, hey, if you know the answer to a question, or you want to shout someone out for hitting Emerald and all of that stuff, please make sure you're commenting on that stuff and not just liking it. We want to make sure everyone is feeling encouraged and supported in their coaching journey. So I think that's all I got for announcements. So I'm really excited for our call tonight. So Callie is a fellow Beatnik babe as well. So she's under Julie Kemp and on her team, and always just like so inspiring and crushing it with coaching. So I'm really excited to have her on the call. She's been coaching since 2018. So coming up on 3 years in May. And like any of you who are new in this business, or anyone who has been here for a while, will learn, life doesn't just go according to how you want. And when you start this business, it's not just going to be like, oh, you started a business and you said you're going to pour into this, so let me just hand you the perfect life, right? And Callie will explain like some of the ups and downs that she's been through while also coaching and building a business and becoming super successful, because that's life, and it's just going to roll how it comes at you, and you have to decide if you want this or not. So I'm really, really excited to hear from her tonight. She is a 2-star 2021 Premier Team, which is freaking awesome. So congrats on that, girl, and your team. She is a Success Club 5 All-Star Legend, and that means she has hit Success Club consecutively for 24, I'm sure, plus months. She is a wife, and she also has a biological child as well as a foster child right now, and is pregnant and due later this year. So talk about mama hustler. She has a heart of gold. She's amazing, and we are so excited to have her here. So I'm going to mute myself and let you take it away, girl.
Thank you so much, Morgan. Yeah, like Morgan said, I'm Callie. I'm 27. I've been married 5.5 years. I have 2 2-year-olds. Their birthdays are like 5 weeks apart. And I am like 12 weeks pregnant, so just announced my pregnancy. And so today I'm going to talk about showing up no matter what, but I want to preface by saying that first of all, everybody has their own version of hard. Tonight I'm only sharing my experience. And this is my experience only. So this is what has worked for me. This is what has worked for my family and my business. But I know that everybody does not have the same story or same coping mechanisms, same life. So please take it as my experience only and glean what you'd like to and throw out the rest. So I started Beachbody in January of 2018. I was an 80-day obsession accountability group girl. And I started, it was about 3 months after my mom had died, and I was just looking for something to take care of myself. And so I started an accountability group, and within like 2 weeks, I was hooked, like knew this was something I was going to do for life. It seriously changed everything for me, being able to do my workouts at home. And I finally understood nutrition in a way I never had before. So I started coaching in May after joining like a What is Coaching sneak peek group. And started coaching in May. I found out I was pregnant like the first week of July. So right away, I got hit with first trimester pregnancy. I was super sick. So like, I think I had 1 month under my belt, and then all of a sudden I was hit with horrible all-day sickness and everything that comes with pregnancy, at least for most women. So, but I was determined to help my coach hit elite. Am a I'm a probably just like many of you, I'm a team player. I am like motivated by doing things with other people. And we were gunning for 5-star elite. My coach was, and I was like, I'm going to be one of the diamonds that gets her to 5-star. So this was in July. I hit diamond in October. So I hit my goal. And then I went into preterm labor and I ended up delivering at 35 weeks. So I went in preterm labor at 32 weeks, delivered at 35. And thankfully we had a healthy baby boy, a couple weeks in the hospital, but we weren't, he was very healthy, but he was a reflux baby. I don't know if any mamas in here have babies who have had horrible reflux, but my child did not sleep for more than 90 minutes at a time for the first year of his life. This is not to scare anybody who doesn't have babies yet. It's not always like that, but it was hard. I was sleep deprived to a point of like total unhealthiness. So that year was very much a coasting. I stayed diamond. I didn't move forward in my business. I was still hitting Success Club and pouring into my coaches and adding to my team, but my business was not moving forward, and it felt really hard. Everything felt hard. Had this beautiful boy, and he was wonderful, but he cried all day and all night every day. And it was a really, really trying year. And I ended up having postpartum depression and anxiety. And I really believe a lot of that was due to sleep deprivation. And I wanted to quit everything. Like I was just at a point in my life where I was exhausted, I was spent, and I felt like there was no end in sight. I was like, I'm never going to sleep again. And this is awful. So I never quit, but I really will tell you for a solid year, I wanted to. I thought about it a lot. I had conversations with my husband at least once a month where we would sit on the couch at the end of the day, and I'd be like, what if I just didn't coach anymore? Like maybe that'd be easier. And he was like, how? Why? How would that be easier? So we would talk through it, and every time we came to the conclusion that it was worth it to stick it out. My husband is my biggest cheerleader in this business, which is a huge gift to me. And he has been amazing, and just like he just cheers me on all the time. And he's like, the only way you lose in this business is if you quit. So continuing on, we ended up, reflux started to resolve around 12 months. So we ended up sleep training. And I would say this is where I really started sharing more of my journey as I went. So I literally went on my stories one day in, I think it was March that we sleep trained. And I was like, all right, guys, I'm starting sleep training this weekend. Like we are starting, it was like a Tuesday. I was like, we're starting on Thursday. I'll tell you how it goes. And I walked through every step of sleep training, even though there were lots of people who didn't agree with what I was doing. But I knew it was what was best for our family. We could not go on with like literally waking up every hour all day, every day. We couldn't do it anymore. So we sleep trained. It took us 10 days. It was the hardest 10 days of my life. And my baby now sleeps 13 hours every single night and takes a 2-hour nap during the day. So I am one happy mama. And it was amazing to like share that journey and really get feedback with people. So I sleep trained and I weaned also from breastfeeding. Around 13 months was when my son weaned from breastfeeding. So that really, any breastfeeding mamas out there, those hormones from breastfeeding, even when they're a year old and you're not like their main source of nutrition anymore, those hormones, I didn't know how bad they were still affecting me. And I weaned and it was like the world was color again. It was incredible. I had never even realized how hard it was, those hormones. And so if you are in the thick of that right now, please know there is color that is coming back to your world after you wean. I was like myself again. I remember spending that whole year thinking to myself, is this just me now? Is this just who I am now? Because I was having a really tough time. And I weaned and we sleep trained. I started sleeping at night again and feeling like I had like a healthy rhythm in my life again. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still me. I'm still Callie. And I thrived. April was my best month of business. I hit Success Club 82. I signed up a whole bunch of coaches, like 15. It was insane. It was amazing. Glory to God. Seriously, it was not just me, but it was such an amazing like month in my business and really showed me the potential I still had in this business. And I think that honestly has like propelled me forward, just knowing that obviously not every month is going to be butterflies and roses, you guys, but April, now granted, I understand there was a lot going on in the world in April, but for me, April was butterflies and roses. And so it was like, wow, when things are going well, you can really, really do well in this business. And just showed me that you can find success in the hard times and the not. So in April, so I think literally like 4 months after, or 4 weeks after I weaned, I ended up getting pregnant. So we found out a couple weeks later. I got pregnant right away. And so, oh, let me back up. My team picked up steam. I hit 1 star. Do I have any NLC qualifiers here? Anybody else? NLC? It's virtual. I'm sad, but okay. Well, I am sad because this is this year it's going to be virtual, so we don't get to all go to West Coast. But we hit 1 star, qualified for NLC, which was super exciting and a big goal of mine. I did, like I said, I found out I was pregnant in April. And so I went through my first trimester. I was just as sick. I was more sick than I was with our son. So like puking all the time, still trying to just like kick butt at business, had a toddler at home. And we went to our appointment at 10 and a half weeks and there was no heartbeat. And so obviously, I'm sure many of you on this call have experienced that before. It's a very, very common thing in pregnancy, but it is still so freaking hard. And so we basically walked out of the appointment and like unplugged from life for a day and just kind of processed the news. I decided to go natural. That was my choice. And so at that time, it was just a waiting game for us. But I was faced with a choice in my business. So I was faced with, I could fake it till I make it, which is not, there's absolutely nothing wrong with keeping things in your personal life, personal. It just wasn't something I felt I could do. I was like, I either got to go MIA or I got to share. Like I knew that I personally, with my personality, could not show up every day with what was going on. So I was like, all right, here's the deal, Alex. I got to either go MIA and quit, or I need to share what's going on in our life, because I can't not show up for people. Like I can't just disappear on them. And I also can't pretend it's not happening. And So my husband was like, can we just like give me a couple days, but then we can share. So we took a couple days to ourselves, which I think is completely appropriate and fine. If you need to step away from social media for a couple days, step away. I basically rallied around my coaches and was like, you guys, or asked my coaches to rally and was like, major admins in my group, please just make sure my girls feel loved on. I just need a minute. So it took a couple days, and a couple days later, we shared on social media and with my group and stuff about our miscarriage. And I decided I was going to share my whole journey with the process, not knowing how long that journey would be for me. And so I shared, every day throughout it. It took me 9 days to miscarry, and it was a really traumatic experience, couple ER visits, and I ended up getting 16 weeks of blood work. So I was not pregnant for 4 months after my miscarriage. And that was just a really emotional and hard time, but I continued to share throughout all of it. And I say that to say, this is when I really started to find, this is when I really started to find my people. I started to share very much so what was going on in our life, just candidly. And I'm sure I lost some people along the way, but I gained so many more people. And I started to have really real conversations with people. I went to my last week of blood work and I found out I was pregnant again. And then 3 weeks later, we found out that we were miscarrying again. And so we went through it a second time right afterwards. And again, I was like, all right, here we go. Like, let's share again. Thankfully, this time it was more of a chemical pregnancy. And so physically and blood work wise, it was over pretty quickly. But that was in October. Whew, you take a deep breath. So that was in October. And 2 weeks later, we got a call asking, at this point, I forgot to share all of this, but we started the process for foster care when my son was like 6 months old. So we felt a calling to start foster care. We felt crazy for doing it, but we went for it. It took us a year to get approved. COVID kind of slowed things down. So we got a call 2 weeks after our second miscarriage, and they were like, hey, do you want a 1-year-old? And I was like, sure, why not? So we took in a little boy, and like I said, he's a month older than our biological son. And around the same time, so this is in November, and you guys, we were pushing for 2-star at the time. So we were a few weeks away from 2-star qual, and we had not hit 2-star yet. And I had everything I needed for Premier except for the rink. So I was like, our team will hit Premier if we hit 2-star. And we were just like 2 weeks away, I think, at the time. And we get this little foster kiddo who doesn't sleep. So I'm back in the no sleep game. And at the same time, the coach who was pushing with us on our team, and I have her permission to share this, but she also went through a miscarriage. So this happened 2 weeks before we were going to hit 2-star qual. And something I thought that was really, it was a really cool like ripple effect was just, so she ended up going through a similar process as I did. And she also shared her process and also was connecting with people. And she, about a week afterwards, her and I were talking. And at this point I had basically kissed 2-star goodbye. Like I was like, nobody's pushing for goals here. We've got like 10 days. It's not happening. And we got on the phone about a week later and she was like, oh, I'm still pushing. Like we're doing this. And 6 days later, we locked in 2-star qual. And 6 weeks later, we had locked in 2-star and qualified for Premier. And obviously I'm saying that like, not to say that you have to hit big major goals in hard seasons of your life. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it was a very special moment for us as a team and the two of us working together to say like, okay, wow, like we can still do this business in hard times. Like we don't need to put this on the back burner because our life got hard. We can push through our life being hard to do this, because ultimately that's why most of us started. Most of us started Beachbody because we needed something. I mean, most of us have some form of a story of how Beachbody changed our lives. And so why not continue to share that through the hard times? Um, so I started doing reels, and I was like sharing about miscarriage and stuff with my reels in the beginning. So I started doing that the end of August. I think it was like the last week of August was my first reel, and I had about 6,000 followers. Um, I now have like almost 16,000 followers. And, but more than that, like, it's really not about the number, you guys. More than that, I feel like I have like really have my people follow me. Like, real relationships, real conversations. I no longer, so I used to, and there's nothing wrong with this method at all, but how I grew my following to 6,000 was by following people and hoping some of them followed me back. And I used to get messages all the time of like, so how'd you find me? Like, why are you following me? I don't know if anybody else has ever gotten that message. And now I get messages of like, I found your page because I was going through this and looking for something. And like, it immediately is starting a conversation and building a relationship and building engagement with people. So on top of sharing my story to encourage you guys to just keep going through your hard times, if that is something you feel like you can do, I also wanted to talk a little bit about narrowing down your niche and really talk, like really speaking to the people who are following you. So you don't have to have a like giant story to narrow down your niche. So what are 5 things about you, and let 5 like or 5 things about you / life experiences that you can speak to, whatever that might be. When I shared about sleep training, that was huge. Like, that was a huge conversation started with people. It was a huge way to engage with people who are following me. If you're like a first-time mom, that's like one of the biggest, like explosions in your business of just like connecting with people. I swear, I think that I have like 20 or 30 people in my challenge group that all of our kids are the same age because we connected throughout my pregnancy. So like, it's like all of our kids literally share birthdays, within 4 weeks of each other. It's really fun. And so like, what are life experiences you're going through? Are you a teacher? Are you a student? What is your job? Do you have kids? Do you have animals? Do you have a journey or an experience that you're walking through or have walked through? What can you speak to? Like, find those 5 things. And what are those 5 things about you? You guys, I shared about chapped lips the other day. Chapped lips. I kid you not, my inbox has never been more full. I was overwhelmed at the amount of people who wanted to give me advice and ask me questions about my chapped lips. So these experiences do not need to be something like deep to the core. People want to know how to fix chapped lips, okay? There's a balm on Amazon. I can send you the link. It's amazing. So that honestly was like a huge conversation starter. It doesn't have to be something super serious or super amazing and special. It can be something super mundane that everybody can relate to. So find those things and speak to them. And another thing I want to talk about is what pauses your scroll. So like, I feel like we get really caught up, at least me, I'm a huge people pleaser, you guys. That's like probably my number one flaw and strength, right? Like, I want to please people with everything. So we worry so much about what other people want to hear and want us to say and what we should or shouldn't say. But what pauses your scroll? Like, what captions are you reading? What captions are you scrolling by? What stories are you turning up your volume and listening to because you want to know more? And what are you tapping through? What polls are you engaging on? And what are the ones that you're skipping? What reels are you watching 20 times? And what are the ones that you watch once and then keep scrolling? Like, those are the questions you should be asking yourself before you're posting. Because if you're posting something that you would scroll past, that's not adding value to the people that are your people's life. It might add to somebody else, but you're not looking for somebody else because it's not fun to build a team full of people that aren't your people. You want to build a team full of your people. So the only way to do that is to speak to your people and not worry about the rest. So find those, like, ask yourself those questions as you're posting, as you're sharing, as you're putting content out there. If this is something you'd want to know, if this is something you'd ask, if this is something, you would engage with or read or save or share, those are the things you want to put out there. I think I know I heard this at Summit. I'm not sure who the speaker was, It was at Summit 2019, but they said, if you're talking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. I thought that was really important because we can talk all day to the whole world and, make sure that everybody loves us and we don't have anybody who's unfollowing us and all of those things. But that doesn't really matter if we're not building relationships with people because we're not being real. So, if you're talking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So hone in on what speaks to you, and that's going to speak to your people. And then another tip I have is you guys have to dive into Reels. If you haven't yet, Reels are hot. They're what Instagram wants to put out there. So if you're wanting to connect with a wide range of people, dive into Reels and know that. So like kind of the point of Reels is to get a wide audience to look at your page. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to follow you. So think of like, if you're watching a reel and the first thing is you might notice as you're watching reels, and part of this is the algorithm, but you might start to recognize certain people you're watching at reels because they like keep their reels keep popping up on your feed. So you don't follow them, but you kind of recognize them or like notice who they are because you've seen their reels before. And eventually you probably go to their page. So that's why it's important to continue. I just saw, I don't even have TikTok. Taylor, I hated TikTok. I refused to do TikTok. I wasn't going to do TikTok. And then I decided to do reels. So you don't have to love TikTok to do reels. But so anyways, you have to put more than one out there. Your first one isn't going to be successful. If you look at my reels, I don't think it was like my 7th or 8th one that started to really pick up speed. Like it wasn't like my first one blew up and I was like, oh, I guess I'll keep going. I kept putting reels out and eventually one of them kind of picked up a little bit of speed and took off. And there are still a lot of reels that don't pick up and then other ones that do. But you have to keep showing up on them. And but the other thing to add to that is the point of reels is that there's going to get a wide variety of people to look at your reels. So say you're watching a reel, you decide to click on this person's page and you go to their page, you're not going to follow them just because they put out a funny reel. You're going to follow them if their page sticks out to you. So this is why doing things simultaneously in your social media is really important. So yes, you need to be making reels, but you also need to be putting out that daily content that's going to really engage with people and find your people. So make sure that like you're understanding the point of reels is to bring people to your page and then they'll decide if they're going to follow you. So have the content that's going to find your people. And then one of my last things is just something I encourage is that if hard stuff comes up, consider sharing through it. I know this isn't like it's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm not saying everybody needs to, but a lot of people share when they get to the rainbow. A lot of people share when they get to the happy point in their life, and then they're okay with looking back and sharing. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I will say it's so meaningful when you share the journey. When you show up and you say, I'm sleep training my kid. I don't know if I'm going to be successful, but watch me go. And then you do end up getting to that day 10 and your kid sleeps through the night and everybody is so excited and cheers you on because they've been watching your journey. And so same thing with our fitness journeys, you guys. We share this with our new coaches all the time, right? Show up at day 1. It doesn't matter if you're at your ultimate fitness level or whatever. Show up and share your journey and people are going to cheer you on. And those people are building relationships. And one of the biggest things I have learned in this business is that people quit products, but they do not quit relationships. They don't. So they can love your product all day long. They can love the programs all the day long. But if their best friend starts selling something else, they're probably going to jump ship because they don't have a relationship with you. If they have a relationship with you, they're going nowhere. They're staying. They're in it. They're there. They're yours. They're there. So quality over quantity always. And this will build a sustainable business. Okay. Let me look at the chat real quick. Does anybody have any questions?
I know someone asked if you have specific like timeline or days that you post reels, but I don't.
I am like the least organized person in the entire world. I would suggest, I've been really bad about this in the last couple of months, just because first trimester problems, but I suggest 2 to 3 a week to like really get the ball rolling. I would say 3 a week if you haven't started yet to like really get the ball rolling. I'm not good at doing 3 a week anymore, but I think 3 a week is kind of like the hot number.
Also, just, I think she's literally said this the entire time, like you're finding your people, but I don't want to say it's the worst things you can do, because attempting to get better is obviously a great place to start. But for me, I hated TikTok. I don't have it anymore just because I personally didn't want it on my phone. And I could not, like, my brain doesn't think creatively like that. So I basically wrote off TikTok, I wrote off Reels, and I was like, I'm not going to do this because I can't be Callie, or I can't be Haley, or I can't be so-and-so making these cute Reels. Like, that's not me. And so you have to figure out what works for you and start like being yourself and authentic to you, because just like she was saying this whole time, if you're not, like, a lot of Callie's Reels, like she said, around miscarriage grief, like she talks about stuff that she's walked through, and a lot of what, like, I've been through similar things, right? Like, but to me, like, that's not what I share on my Reels now. So I think like really just playing with them, like she was saying, and not all of them are going to catch, but like attempting, this is just a good wake up call for me too, because like we have to do new things, and you have to find what works for you, and not what, like, if you're trying to be someone else and doing what they're doing, then it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, one of the number one things I share with my coaches is watch all of the trainings and try, like, be willing to try anything, but also like this is your business. And so take it all with a grain of salt. Like, just because somebody tells you to do something doesn't mean you have to do it in this business, but be open to trying things. For me with TikTok, I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna be, I was like a real sass about it. And I did end up getting one and trying, and then like the TikTok like kind of blew up. And I guess it's still running, but at the time it wasn't supposed to be anymore. I started TikTok like maybe 2 weeks before it was supposed to be shut down. So TikTok didn't pan out for me, obviously, but the Reels ended up working out well. And so that's something that works for me. I saw, when do you post them? So a tip someone shared with me is you can hit the live button, like go to like make a post, hit the live button and see how many people are on. Like you can literally see how many of your followers are on, like active at the time. So if you do that kind of sporadically, you might start to get a feel of like how many of your followers is a lot to be online. You know what I mean? Like we all have a different number for that. So you can't really compare somebody else's number. But like if you start to kind of keep track of how many followers are on at like different times of day, you'll find your good times to post for your followers. And also just if you find it like get a lot of engagement, it's potential that it's because it's a good time.
Well, this is genius. I mean, this is why I love this business too. Like, you always are learning something if you're open to learn, and I had no idea. So if you guys don't know how to do that, go to your Instagram, hit the little plus like you're going to make something, and it gives you the option at the bottom to say post, story, live, or reel. I literally just clicked live and it told me 40 followers are on.
Mm-hmm.
No idea. Thanks, Callie. But yeah, so I mean, probably for me, this would not be the best time to go live of 12,000 people with 40 on. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Any other questions?
Does anyone else have any questions for Callie?
Oh no, maybe you need to update. That's my answer for everything when there's an Instagram problem. I'm like, you just probably need to update.
Oh, Haley has all the Instagram problems, so it's just her. Let's be real.
Yeah, so I didn't share before. I've never shared before 12 weeks about my first trimester, even after our losses. So first of all, first trimester is survival mode. Like we can all acknowledge that. I've lived off like 2 bagels a day for the last 3 months. My booty is showing it, but I was big on what I've realized is like, if you're consistent for a really long period of time, if you like take a step back, but you still show your face, people don't really notice you're not as consistent as you once were. People aren't as engrossed in our lives as we think they are. So if we show up a lot of the time, so this means kind of giving ourselves a kick in the booty, right? I took probably 3 or 4 rest days a week my first trimester. I did not exercise, and a lot of that was due to anxiety more than anything else. And then also when I really was pushing myself, I would get really sick. So a couple of things in both with my son and then with this pregnancy and our miscarriage as well, I posted sample moves at least 3 or 4 days a week. It didn't mean I did a really full workout, but I was at least moving for 10 or 15 minutes doing my sample moves. And then I would post those. And so that was one thing. I didn't post a lot about nutrition because people would probably catch on if I was sharing my 2 bagels a day. And yeah, I would just say like, do what you can. It is survival mode, but also know that like people aren't noticing as much as you think they are. So just like keep showing up, but it doesn't mean you have to be like super duper active maybe as you once were. I'm not sure how active you are on Instagram. But like if you're used to 10 clips on your stories a day, you can probably get away with 5, stuff like that. So that would be my advice to you about that.
And I think that goes for like just like you were saying with your miscarriage and stuff too. Anytime you feel like you're not ready to share something, like that's okay. You don't like with my miscarriage, it wasn't the same situation as Callie. So we found out and then I went through it before I was ready to share. So I, had to, and like she said, fake it till you make it, which I don't love that, but like you just, until you're ready to open up, like you can show up and there are ways. And I think that's what's cool about this business is making it work for you. And then when you, like she's been saying this whole time, when you are ready to share and talk to people and share that journey, like you will connect with so many people. And we have the blessing of having this business and these people that follow us. So like, that's what we get to use our platform for if we want to be able to like share that with people and connect.
I think that Tori Heyman just put out a Reels training.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't need to get into a whole Reels training. There's definitely, I can ask her too, and that's something like honestly, I feel like you just have to play with it. It's not like
you do. You gotta kind of dive in.
Cool. Well, we appreciate it. Does anyone else have any last minute questions in terms of like showing up or when life's hard or how you like mindset or keep pushing through or anything like that? Let us know. But we appreciate you so much. Are you in Louisville or are you going or are you staying home with
I'm staying home.
Yeah.
So sad.
Probably best without limited travel. But I see your hat. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing and congrats on all of your success. I love like watching you and seeing you guys all like just thrive, and it's been really cool to see your journey too. So I really appreciate you getting on and sharing with us just how the heck to show up for this business through everything, because like you said, it's hard. It's really hard sometimes. So
thank you so much for having me, you guys.
yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks, Callie. And you guys, I'm going to leave the Zoom up. So if you're staying on to work, feel free. I know there's some girls that are going to be hustling on. It's the end of the month, so stay on if you want. I am going to go spend some time with the hubs, but I hope you have a great rest of your Thursday night and a good weekend. So bye, you guys.
All right, my party people. Are we doing this thing?
Yes. I just made you the host, Jesse, so I'm popping off. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Stop recording though, so it doesn't record us just